Hello guys, welcome back. In today's Microsoft Excel for the VBA video, we are going to see some of the basic operations that we can perform over the sheets in Microsoft Excel. So up till now, we have been looking at the various functions or the various operations that we can perform over the cells or a range of cells using the VB code in Microsoft Excel. But from the previous video, we started about our sheets. So from this video onwards, or basically the previous video onwards till some other videos, we are going to concern ourselves with some of the operations that are associated with the sheets in Microsoft Excel. So here I have created a new workbook. I have not saved it yet. That is why it has got the default name of book 1, and currently I am on sheet 1. So let us start. In today's video, what we are going to see is, first of all, we are going to see a property of Microsoft Excel Worksheets. This property is known as the name property. Now using this name property, what all operations we can perform is what we are going to see today. So let us start with our code. So for that, first of all, we need to bring up the VBA Editor. So for that, we have a shortcut with us, Alt F11, and this is our VBA Editor. So let us just adjust the position of the Excel as well, so that both these screens are visible to you now. Now go to the VBA Editor, go to the Insert menu and click on a module. This will enable you to insert a new module. Now let us rename it to something meaningful. I'm naming it as Name Sheets because we are going to work with the name property of the sheets. That's why I've given this name, but you are free to choose any name for yourself. Now you can just select this module and minimize this Microsoft Excel objects because we do not need to work on that. We currently need to work on the modules. Now in the modules, we need to create a sub procedure first. So just type sub for the sub procedure and provide a name. This, as you all know, is going to be the name of our macro. So just provide a meaningful name, open and close the parenthesis, and as soon as you press enter, VB will recognize it that yes, it is a sub procedure and will add the end sub line to terminate this sub procedure. Now what we are going to first look at is how can we add the sheets using a custom sheet name. Up till now, we have looked in the previous video that how can we add sheets in Microsoft Excel. So if we just revisit it quickly, then we need to write this Worksheets function, then put a dot, and we had this add option. So if we just put a tab and we try to run this code, then a sheet 2 would be added before sheet 1, which is the current sheet. Also in the previous video, we learned about that how can we add a sheet at a particular position. So that I'm not going to tell again. If you want to watch it, you can just watch the previous video. But what if you want to add a sheet with a custom name? So how can you go with it? You have to assign or access a property known as the name property. Okay. Now here, if you just type it, then it would go like a worksheets because we are going to work with worksheet. So just type in worksheet, then put a dot. Since we are going to add a sheet, so this add property must be there. Then again you need to put a dot, and now what we are going to do is actually use the property known as the name property. Now if we just write name, then we need to provide it with a custom name, and this is the same name with which the sheet would be added. So you just put an equal sign, and within double quotes you gotta write the name. Why double quotes? Because it is a string value, so it needs to be provided within double quotes. So what I'm going to write is custom name, put a space and write NAME name, and you can just click on run. Then you can see that what happens is one of the worksheets is added. Up till now we had two sheets, sheet 1 and sheet 2. Now using this line of code, worksheets.add a new sheet, sheet 3 is added with the default name. But using this line of code, a new sheet is added which was named as custom name over here. So if we just try to rerun it with the help of the step into function, so that you would be able to understand it in a better way. So But what we need to do for that is change the name of this worksheet, because there cannot be two sheets with the same name in the same workbook. So let us just name it as custom sheet. Okay, now if we use the step into function using the shortcut key F8, then what happens is, first of all, this worksheets.add function is going to execute. If we just press F8, then you can see the worksheets.add function executed, and it added a sheet with the name as sheet 5 in our workbook. Now we have this second statement which would add another worksheet in our workbook, but with a name as custom sheet. So if we just press F8 again, then you can see that a new sheet before sheet 5 has occurred over here, or is added in the workbook, and its name is now custom sheet. So that is how you can actually add a sheet with a custom name in Microsoft Excel, or with any other name, any name that you like. Okay, now the question is, once you have added the sheets, can you rename them? Suppose I have this sheet 5 and I want to rename it. So a general procedure is, you just right click over here, go to this rename option, and then you would be able to rename it, or you can just simply double click over this name and you would be able to rename it. But since we are looking at VB, so we want to rename a sheet that is already added with the help of the macros. So is it possible to rename a sheet using macros? The answer is yes. There are two ways to do that. First way, let us first just clear up this code. First option is, you got to access that sheet. So there are two ways to access the sheet. We already know that. One way is using the position of the sheet, and the second way is using the name of the sheet. So suppose you want to access the sheet using the name of the sheet, then how can you go with it? You use the worksheets function to access a sheet. Just type in worksheets, then open the parenthesis. Within the parenthesis, in double quotes, you need to provide the name of the sheet which you want to rename. I want to rename sheet 5, so I'm just typing sheet 5 like this, then close the double quotes, close the parenthesis, then put a dot. Now what property you need to access right now is called as the name property. You need to access the name property. So NAME is the name property, and using this name property you can assign a custom name or any other name that you like. So within double quotes you need to provide it with a name. So I'm just providing it as renamed sheet. Okay, and let us just run it. So you can see that after before custom name there was a sheet named as sheet 5, but now there is a sheet named as renamed sheet. The reason why, because sheet 5 is now renamed as renamed sheet. Okay, now what happens if you want to access it using a position? So if you just right click over the arrows given over here, you will get all the sheets that are currently present in your workbook. So here you can see that we have a sheet called as sheet 3 and its position is 4th. If we start from 1, 2, 3 and it's at the 4th position. So okay, let us just rename it. So how can we go with it? You can just clear up this piece of code and just leave this worksheets function over here. Okay, you need to write the worksheets function, you need to open the parenthesis, and within the parenthesis, instead of the name you need to provide the number. Since we are providing the number, so it is no need for us to provide it within double quotes. Simply just type the number, since the position we are targeting is the 4th position. So just type in 4, close the parenthesis, put a dot, and again you need to access the same property that is known as the name property. Put an equal sign, and now within double quotes you need to provide the name of the sheet to which you want it to be renamed to. So what I want is rename sheet. The previously we had renamed sheet, now we are providing rename sheet. The reason why, because there cannot be two sheets with the same name in the same workbook. So that is our piece of code, and let us run it. We know that sheet 3 is at the target position, so it's after sheet number okay, it's after custom name, and before sheet 2. So just keep an eye over there what happens. We just run here, then you can see that sheet 3's name is now changed to rename sheet, and that's how you can work with the name properties of the sheets. So this is all for today's video, but you would be learning more and more about sheets in the coming videos, so stay tuned.